Well, good evening. Happy Labor Day. It's Monday, September 1st. So, as we know, for like the past several months, we've been seeing falling home values in pretty much in the southern part of the country, like Florida, the Sun Belt states. Zillow now just came out with a report saying that half of the U.S. is now seeing falling home values. So, is this a trend? Is this country finally shifting over to a buyer's market? We're going to talk about that tonight and some plenty other housing market stories and reports and all that fun stuff. So thank you for joining me tonight. So let's get into it right now. All right. Cool. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Jackie Baker. This is your weekly live dose of real estate reality. I'm a realtor up here in northern New Jersey in the good old Garden State, also known as the Dirty Jers. Yeah, we like to call it. Anyway, hope you all had a great Labor Day weekend and a great summer. I can't believe the summer is over with. What the heck? It flew by. I can't. I just can't. So anyway, so I hope you had a great weekend. And if you have kids going back to school, if you had kids that went back to college, I hope they all have a fantastic school year. I know up here in the Northeast, a lot of kids are going back to school this week. So if you live here in the Northeast, hope your kids have a fantastic school year and moms and dads survive the chaos of a new school year. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me tonight. So we have some housekeeping rules. If you're new here, if you have a question, and I do encourage questions, please ask your questions. Put QQQ in front of the question so it's easier for me to spot it, and I'll put your question up on the screen. Also, if you have comments about the articles that I'm reading and the stuff that I'm talking about, I love engaging in conversation with you all. So please feel free to put your comments, share your thoughts, within reason. Let's be nice. Sometimes people get a little heated. I don't want to get, I don't want to have anybody like saying anything mean or anything like that. So let's all be nice. So anyway, so we also have our poll. I do a poll every week. So this week's poll, if you're just chiming in, you're just hopping on, be sure to check it out. It says here, with homes now sitting on the market longer and more listings seeing price cuts, what's your move? The first option is I jump in and buy now. I'd wait for steeper price drop. I'm still watching the market. So please chime in on that poll. Let me know. And I'm going to read the results at the end of the stream. What else? So those are my housekeeping rules. So the first thing I want to talk about, like I do every week, we're going to talk about the mortgage rates. Okay. Mortgage rates. Yeah. It's always a fun thing to talk about. But the good news is the rates actually went down, believe it or not. Now, this is a report from Friday. I tried to find one for today, but because of the holiday weekend, we don't have the updated rates. But it says here, mortgage rates came down for a third straight day, matching the lowest weekly average since October 2024. Today's economic indicators, including a major inflation measure, should keep downward pressure on interest rates over Labor Day weekend. So they have a conventional 30-year fix at 6.549. 20-year fixed is 6.232. 15-year is 5.709. That's awesome. 30-year fixed FHA is at 6.451. 30-year fixed VA is 6.5, and a 5/1 ARM conventional is 5.754. So those are the rates. That was as of Friday. Tomorrow may be a different story, but there's a lot of speculation. They're talking about the Fed is meeting September 16th and 17th, and that's just in like a couple of weeks. And there's a lot of talk about that they are going to cut the federal funds rate, which could indirectly impact the mortgage interest rates. Now, remember, they don't directly correlate to cutting the federal fund rate does not automatically lower mortgage interest rates. Mortgage interest rates follow the 10-year Treasury yield. I don't know how many times I say this every week. I say it every week, and you're probably all sick of me talking about it, but that's what it follows. So, Let me see here. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on. Zillow is saying the values are declining in half the markets here in this country. So let's talk about it if I can find it. Um Here it is. Okay. Good lord. Okay, I'm still on summer vacation. Okay. This is the July housing market report from Zillow. So the key takeaways: the buyers continue to gain leverage as affordability challenges keep competition low. Now, 27 major metros are in buyers' favor or neutral. It's up from 24 from June. Listings are lingering. The median for sale home has been listed for 60 days, the longest of any July in Zillow data. Seller cut prices on 27.4% of listings. That's a record high in Zillow data that stretches through 2018. So this is, guys, it's a happening. It's happening, as my thumbnail says. It's happening. Okay. Home values fell in half of the nation's largest markets over the past year. Shoppers who can afford a home are gaining leverage in negotiations. High costs and economic uncertainty have pushed their competition to the sidelines. Sellers are cutting prices at record rates and to try and entice buyers. Home values rose over the last year in 25 major markets, mostly in the Midwest and Northeast. No kidding. That's what I'm still dealing with here in Jersey. Demand is high, especially in affordable areas, but building restrictions put a damper on new and higher density projects. Sellers have few options to move up to, and existing inventory is still below pre-pandemic averages in many metros. Okay, so this says here price growth divide is linked to recent success of builders. Home value appreciation is nearly flat at the national average, rising just 0.2% over the last year. Lower rates and low price growth have slightly improved affordability. Monthly mortgage costs are down $19 over the past year, 19 bucks. But the typical payment is nearly $1,000 per month higher than before the pandemic. Think about that. It's $1,000 more than before the pandemic. That's wow. Okay. Now, here are the markets where among the 50 largest US metros, home values rose the most in the past year. We have Cleveland, Hartford, Louisville, Detroit, and Buffalo. However, these gains are modest compared to rampant double-digit growth seen 3 or 4 years ago. Florida and Texas, both former hotspots for housing demand and skyrocketing prices, are home to the major metros seeing home values fall the fastest. Annual declines in typical home values are largest in Tampa, Austin, Miami, Orlando, and Dallas. Affordability and access is gradually improving where builders have been able to keep up with demand, showing why building more homes is so critical. This is what I talk about all the time. We need more inventory. Metros where price corrections are steepest are among those with the largest increase in inventory compared to before the pandemic. All of these metros, except Miami, rank among the top 10 for home building permits from 2020 to 24. When demand for homes surged, builders were able to respond fastest in areas with fewer land use restrictions. That gave buyers more options and sellers more homes to move into, freeing up existing supply. Price cuts reach a record high. Sellers cut prices on 27.4% of listings in July. That's the highest share since Zillow began tracking this metric in 2018. Cuts are more common in the South and Mountain region. In the Mountain region, that's interesting, and are less widespread in markets more favorable to sellers in the Northeast and the West Coast. Zillow's market heat index shows competition among buyers continues to decline nationwide, reaching the lowest point for any July since 2018. Now, 27 major markets are either balanced or in the buyer's favor. 3 more than last month, 9 more than last July. Okay. So that's it in a nutshell. It's definitely spreading, guys. Now, really quick, I want to show you here about the home values. So now they're saying the home values at $367,965. Mortgage payments, assuming 20% down, is $1,907. We already talked about where the home values climbed and where they're falling. Home values, if you see this, home values are down from a year ago levels in 25 major metro areas. The largest are in Tampa, Austin, Miami, Orlando, and Dallas. Um, New listings decreased month over month, decreased by 4.3% in July. New listings were up 5.3% this month compared to 2024, but new listings are 20.6% lower than pre-pandemic levels. So this is a combination of what I say every week. We know what it is. It's the stupid interest rates. The interest rates, it's the interest rates keeping current homeowners who have under 4% interest rate. It's keeping them in those golden handcuffs and keeping them locked in and don't want to move. They don't want to give up that rate. Now, with the video I'm dropping on Wednesday, I'm talking about Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, how he shared his prediction. He doesn't think that the Fed is going to cut the funds rate this year. He's not convinced that's going to happen. So I talk about that, and he talks about how the magic number, interest rate, where he thinks it's going to get this market moving again and people wanting to sell their homes, it's going to be 5.5%. I'm like, okay, I'm right up there with Mr. Wonderful. This is what I've been saying for past 4 years. This is where we need to be. We need to be back in the 5% range to in order for people to be more comfortable with moving to another home. If they have to take on a mortgage, they're more apt to stomach a 5.5% rate versus 6.5%, 7%, what we've had the past couple of years. So anyway, let me bring some comments on here. I'm just like so excited here. I just want to say hello to you all. All right. Hi, Stan. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. And Zag, hola. Rockmaker from Corpus Christi, thank you for being here. What's up, MHE? I know there's still 3 weeks left of summer. I know. Got three weeks left. Team Huntley, yay. Thanks for being here. I'm so glad you're able to catch it. What's up, Clark? My friend Clark is here. Happy Labor Day, Clark. Hope you had a great weekend. Let me see here. Oh, Lisa, how are you? 3 weeks from closing, excited and nervous at the same time. I'm so excited for you, Lisa. Yeah, you have every right to be excited. It's awesome. I'm excited for you. Report back when you close. I want to hear all about it. We got a question here. AJ is questioning, do you recommend a luxury, I'm assuming you're talking about luxury vinyl floors like LifeProof from Home Depot. I mean, listen, luxury vinyl, I think, is a great product. If you find a really decent one, I'm not familiar with the LifeProof brand from Home Depot, but when I've looked at homes and I see luxury vinyl, there's some really good ones that look really nice, that look like hardwood, or the house that I had that was a rental property had luxury vinyl. It was brand new construction. It looked wonderful. I loved it, and it wore really well. But I'm not sure about that brand of LifeProof. I would check for reviews on that. I'm not really sure. Hello, Lacey. Lacey's got a question. How is Netflix going to affect Monmouth County housing? And it's going to affect it. It's going to affect it a lot. I think the home prices are going to go up even more. Sorry, I need some water. I think it's going to affect the home prices even more. It's going to raise them, definitely. The prices are going to go up because that's bringing 1,500 jobs to Monmouth. So where's everybody going? Now, I just saw recently a gentleman that I follow on TikTok, John Natale. He's a realtor down in Monmouth County. He has his own firm, own brokerage, I should say. John talks about this a lot. And John also he shared a video that there's a big apartment complex going up in Belmar. And yeah, I forget, it's a lot of units. I want to say, I think it was like 400 or 500 units. Maybe it's more. Yeah, Monmouth County, I think we're going to see some growth happening there. Okay, who else we got? Lisa, what do you got? You're locked in at 5 with a VA, another program called Georgia Dream. Amazing. Oh my gosh, Lisa, I'm so happy for you. That's so awesome. Hello, Miss H. How are you? Thank you for being here. Um, all right, what else we got? We got to win. All right, you know what? I need I got to do some cheering. All right, let's see. All right. When Carla says, I've got to win, found a mid-century modern raised ranch in a great neighborhood, already set up with an in-law suite. We got it, 7,000 less than asking. We close on 10-3, Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. Carla, that's amazing. Congratulations. That is great. Oh my God. I love that. I love that. MH, you're down about 50,000 in Denver. Prices are coming down there. Wow. Team Hunley, will homes in the Western North Carolina area affected by the floods 2024 lose value even if not damaged? You know what? That's hard to say. I don't know. I really don't know because if you, I hate to say it, that topic I talked about last week, homeowners insurance. You know, if the rates are going to be going up, it might. I don't know. I really don't know. I hope it doesn't, but but I assume they're probably I don't know if they've taken care of everything there, have they? With well, like the rebuilds and the roads and all that too? I don't know. I would imagine the homeowners insurance is gonna be an issue there now because of that. Um, let's see. Maria, how are you? Thank you for being here. My answer to the polls, I'm still waiting because in my budget range, best homes have been bought up by the last year or taken off the market because the market is favoring the buyer now. Maria, thank you for bringing it up because this is another issue we're having too. I've talked about this where sellers are now they're taking their homes off the market because they're seeing a shift going on. Just had this happen to me. We had a listing. My partner and I had a listing, and we were honest. This house was on the market with two different other realtors. The seller called us in, wanted us to try and sell it. We said, "Look, you're overpriced. This is where your price needs to be." He finally agreed to it, and even then, we were still like, I think we're still a little too high." Um, he's only stayed on the market for I think 50 days, and he wanted to take it off because he wasn't getting his price. No matter what we told him, it comes down to your price. The house is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, but if for that particular market, people don't wanna pay what you're asking for, and, he took it off the market. But then PS, he ended up going to another real estate agent and still listed at the same price we had it at. Still hasn't moved. So, this is gonna be an issue. That's my other concern right now. I mean, yeah, values are coming down and now sellers are seeing this. They're not gonna be realistic about their price because they wanted a price what their neighbors sold, a year ago. And that's not reality right now. Look, even parts here in Jersey, it is still a very strong seller's market. I have 2 clients right now. I got them under contract, 2 buyers. We're in bidding wars. Was not crazy as far as the amount of offers, right? So these were done in July? End of July. Yeah, they were both end of mid-July and end of July. And which is pretty much which is a very slow time of the year as far for housing here in Jersey. Houses still move, but you have less competition. There's less buyers. So, for both of these people that I were able to get the house, we were only up against, I think, 3 offers on one house, on another one, and I think 2 offers on another. It wasn't terrible. I mean, these people were bidding, the offers are very strong, but we weren't up against like 10, 15 offers. Like the house we had in June, we got our buyers in June. We just closed on that last week. That house had 10 offers, and that was in June. So it's amazing what a difference, like even just a few weeks make. It's all about the timing, right? So just a month later, we had less competition. My buyers, these 2 clients were able to secure a home and weren't able to go super high over asking because they weren't competing against, 10, 15 people. So that helped out a lot. Um, 100s on top 100s. East Tennessee is on fire. So I hear. I hear that a lot. I hear that. Sabrina says, not much inventory in Northern New Jersey. The waiting game is so hard. I know. I'm sorry, Sabrina. I'm so sorry. It's a lot. It's a lot. Um, okay. Northern Virginia. Um, Northern Virginia, it's still pretty hot down there too. If you have a well-priced home, it shows well, it's gonna sell. I have a friend down there. I have a couple of friends down in that market, and they tell me again, it depends, just similar to here too, where, as long as it's not overpriced and it's priced well, it's the house is gonna move. So, and I think inventory is building up a little bit more down there than it is up here in Jersey. All right. Miss H, what do we got? So I'll talk about wanting to get rid of HOA. I feel it would be positive for a lot of people. Do you think if that were to happen, will it be nationwide or just a few states? My thoughts, Miss H. I'm so glad you brought this up because that's one of the articles I'm going to share with you guys later regarding HOAs. There's a politician in Florida that's proposing a bill to ban HOAs. We're going to talk about that a little later. So thanks for bringing that up. Okay, so not only is Zillow saying that there's a shift, I wanted to bring this up with you too. Where are we? Okay. All right. This says here there's a housing market shift afoot. Just ask realtors. Okay. This just came out yesterday. To conduct our first ever real estate agent survey, thought this is interesting. Resi Club partnered with Zudialio, a cash offer platform and iBuyer management software designed for real estate agents. Among the 238 agents who took the survey, half have been real estate agents for 15 years or more. This is what the results revealed from this survey of real estate agents. Okay, agents report that buyer urgency in their local market has cooled off compared with a year ago, while sellers have become more urgent. In the Southeast, Southwest, and West, agents say seller urgency is picking up the most, while Midwest and Northeast sellers are steadier. Okay, so it shows here how real estate agents characterize home buyer urgency in their market today compared to 12 months ago. So you can see in the Midwest is slightly higher compared to 12 months ago. It's 5%. 32% is about the same, 50% slightly lower. Okay. So the buyer urgency has slowed down. Not so much in the Northeast. The Northeast, it's a little higher. So you got 12% slightly higher, 19% about the same, 35% it's cooled off, and 35% significantly lower. But this is interesting. You look at how they characterize seller urgency. So Northeast, 31%. It's higher, slightly higher, but 31%. Look at the urgency in the Southeast, Southwest, West. 13%, significantly higher. 30% in the Southwest, significantly higher, and then the West, 17%. Home buyer demand. Look at that. Look at all the pink there. 40% lower in the Southeast, 38% significantly lower. Southwest, 26%, 39%. Yeah, you see it, guys. You see, now this is where, as the Zillow article said, wait, let me just look at this really quick before I move on. When asked who they expect to drive business growth over the next 12 months, agents pointed to sellers seeking downsizing options. This growth is possibly downstream of today's strained housing affordability and aging demographics. Agents also expect the move-up buyer category to grow. And I agree with that. As a matter of fact, I'm helping a move-up buyer right now. We here in Bergen County helped him buy his house 3 years ago. He already needs a bigger house. We just got under contract, and believe it or not, we got a good deal. We got a good deal on his house. The one he's buying right now. We actually have the home inspection tomorrow. I'm so super excited for him. It's a beautiful house. So price matters. Price matters, people. You're selling your home, price according to the market. This home that he is purchasing has been on the market since April, and it had significant price reductions. And when I saw it, I said the value is between this number. And guess where the offer was accepted? It was that range. Not I'm saying that I'm right all the time, but I've done this for a while, and I've seen a house or two, and I kind of have an idea. So, he got it. We got a good deal, but I feel very good that he's getting at value for this house. He's not overpaying for it. Um, all right. MH, what do you got? I have enough equity where I could put a high enough down payment on another house, but don't want a mortgage at my age. I hear you. And I think this is going to be a lot of people in this situation where they don't want a mortgage. If they could pull enough equity out and buy something smaller and pay cash, that would be ideal. But look, if you have to take out a small mortgage, and if you can get it for under 6%, take out a 15-year loan. Take out one for less time. Stan has a question. How do flips with old foundation get reassessed? Is it based on market value or fixed percent of market value last sale? We were looking to buy 180 Parker Avenue in Maplewood, but changed mine. So it's based on, okay, so reassessment, this is what I understand in reassessments. It's based on market value. All right. So New Jersey's going to start seeing a lot of reassessments going on. I've talked about it before where I live in North Jersey. Our town we're going through a reassessment cycle right now. So what does that mean? Taxes are going up. So yes, from what I understand, it goes based off of market value. So even if it has an old foundation, it's what it's sold for. So if they flip the home, so if they kept the existing foundation and built on top of that, yeah, I mean, if it's a bigger house, bigger square footage, and it's going to compare to other larger homes in that market, and they're going to have similar values, and yeah, it's going to be reassessed according to that value. Case in point, I sold a house. I had helped investors a number of years ago, like 4 years ago. They bought a house. They knocked it down to the foundation. They built, oh my God, the original house I want to say was about 2,000 square feet. They knocked it down. They extended the foundation. They added on a little bit, and so the new house that they built was just about 3,000 square feet. And even though that was mostly the existing foundation, the taxes on that new home, they were upwards to $27,000 a year, where the original house was, I believe, like maybe $9,000 a year because the original house was much smaller. So, yeah. So I hope that helps. But listen, if you're concerned about that, because my client just asked me this the other day too. I mean, people have this fear that they buy the house, they close on it, and then their taxes are going to go up because the town's going to see what they paid for it. It doesn't happen like that. Assessment cycles, every town is different. So an assessment cycle could be like every 3 years. It could be every 5 years, 10 years. It could be once a year, every year. You have to check with the local town to find out when their assessment cycles are. Cafe? I don't know. I hope I'm saying it right. The late millennial, early Gen Z in me hopes prices reduced to pre-COVID, so having a house is feasible in my lifetime. I know, I hear you, but realistically, you're not going to see pre-pandemic prices. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Ran out of space. Flips, I mean, brand new everything except the foundation. Yeah. Yep. So that's I knew that's what you're talking about. I hope that answered your question. All right. Do you have a mortgage balance to basis to equity ratio if someone's considering selling their home? Do you have a mortgage balance to basis to equity ratio? That I don't know. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I'll be talking to a lender. We gotta win. Simply Rakita. I've been watching you since last November. Thank you. I recently purchased my very first home using NACA 220,000, 588.75 with seller buy down new roof, home warranty outside of Charleston. What? Are you for real? Oh my God. Congratulations. That's amazing. Oh my God. That's amazing. That's I'm so happy for you. That's great. That's great. Oh, Maria, thank you so much. You like my groovy blouse? Thank you. Yeah, I was out working today. I was out showing houses. Then I figured, I want to look nice for you guys. My groovy blouse. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. Let me see. I just hope inventory in inland Maine increases next year. It's a little worrying seeing 7 total houses in my search range where I'm looking. Yeah, I get you. I get you. In my town, I live in a very large town. Typically, on average, before the pandemic, we could see like between 70 to 100 homes on the market at any given time. When I just checked MLS the other day, we'd 15 active homes for sale in my town. Still, it's these stupid interest rates, Can't. Uh Flood damage in North Carolina is still bad. Lots of work still needed. People still living in tents, feeling ignored and forgotten. I was lucky, but so much misery. Pray for us. Are you for real? Really? Oh my gosh, I had no idea. Guys are still living in tents there. That's ridiculous. I hope you guys get help soon. Like that's unacceptable. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry that they're still dealing with that. Jonathan says just bought in Tuxedo Park, New York, moving from Rockland County for 12,000 over asking. We have crazy markets still in Rockland and Northeast. Yes, Rockland is still hot too. I'm not far. I'm originally from Rockland County. I'm not that far from Rockland, so I have agents in my office that do cover New York, and yeah, I know it's still crazy. But listen, 12,000 over asking. That's not that bad. Um, I don't think Massachusetts will ever be a buyer's market. That's how I feel about Jersey too. But listen, never say never. Um, Las Vegas Realtor here. Thank you for being here. Sellers are overpriced while tourism is down and unemployment and foreclosures are rising. Our housing market needs more affordable inventory. I know I've been reading a lot about what's going on out in Vegas, and oh my gosh, I feel for you guys. That's not a good situation to be in, but the sellers have to get real about it. Now, I have a question, MK. Are these homeowners who purchased during the pandemic, like 5 years ago, and now they're trying to recoup their money? I'm curious to know that because that's probably part of the problem. If it's somebody that paid an exorbitant amount 5 years ago, they're trying to make that money back now. What do I think of Warren Buffett's big investment to home builders, Lennar and D.R. Horton? I I just briefly read something about that. I didn't go into detail about it to learn about it. I don't know. It to me, like when I initially saw it, he may see something really positive happen in housing. I think that's how I like initially read that. But again, I haven't dug deep into that. Maybe we'll talk about that one next week. If you guys want to know more about that one, maybe we can talk about good old Warren's investments. Cindy, I'm so relieved I was finally able to close on my daddy's 2 rental properties before the prices dropped. He passed away after 7 years of Alzheimer's in 24. I'm so sorry about that, but I'm glad you were able to close. That is a hard thing to do when you inherit property. I went through that myself. I inherited my dad's investment property. That was fun. And then we sold it. And then obviously when both my parents had passed, we had to sell my parents' house. And then it's like a year later, we had to sell my in-laws because they had passed. Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun when you're selling inherited properties, you know, especially if it was a house that you grew up in. That was hard. But investment properties are challenging too, especially if you're not familiar with it. I mean, I had some knowledge of investment properties when my father owned a mobile home park, manufactured home park, a little bit more challenging. So yeah. Um, Andrea, we have another win. Hey, Jackie, on June 16th, we celebrated my offer being accepted 1.4% below asking, 3% seller concessions, assumption of the seller's 2.5% VA loan. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Okay. After inspections, I negotiated an even better deal. What? 4.49% below asking, 1.99% seller concession, and an assumption of that precious 2.5% VA loan closed on 8/14 and moved in 1 week ago today. Andrea, congratulations. That is amazing. Do you see? It's possible. Yes, you can get a house and you can, if you're in a market where you have leverage, it's becoming a buyer's market. This is what happens, guys. This is what happens. It's right here what Andrea did. And I hope it's coming to more markets. I really do. Rita says, thinking of selling my home in East Tennessee. Talk to realtors. Number one, priced my house at $350. Number two, priced at $439. What am I to think? Not in a subdivision. Comps are difficult, I believe. Okay. Somebody just said East Tennessee is hot. That's a big rent. $350 to $439. That's almost $100,000 difference. So, couple of things. I don't know what they explained to you, but it's possible. You said comps are difficult. If you don't have enough homes and enough comparables in your market, that can definitely make pricing your home very challenging. So you're here looking 350 and 439, maybe go somewhere in the middle, split the baby and go like maybe list it say 399 and see if you can get over 400. Maybe talk to a third realtor and get their opinion. But ask to see their comps. See what look, I'm sure they shared with you the data, but look at what those houses sold, like the ones that sold, what did they offer? What did they look like? Were they updated? Did they have the same updates as your home, right? Or was it nicer? Were they not as nice as your home? Like look at these homes, see what they had. Make sure you are comparing apples to apples, okay? Because if you're not doing that, the whole thing is skewed. You're not gonna your pricing's the pricing is gonna be skewed. So that's what I have to say about that. SC says Columbus, Ohio market is still high. Yeah, because it's one of the last affordable markets around. It's been for a while. ZZ, I'm in the Northeast. We had 6 offers sold 30,000 above asking, and the buyer waived inspection. I can't believe they waived inspection. I mean, I guess good for you, but I know if I was your agent, I wouldn't allow. I'd limit their inspections. I'm sorry, I wouldn't allow them to waive it. Sorry. Hello, Kaylee. Glad you made it too. Thanks for being here. Cindy says, my husband and I have 2 more rental properties. We've been landlords for 40 plus years. We will be listing our duplex by November. We had to make necessary repairs, roof, porches, upgraded all utilities. Well, good luck, Cindy, with selling that. I hope you do well with it. Maria, is there a way to find out if a house neighborhood is to be reassessed in the near future? One of the areas I've been searching has had huge jumps in taxes, but others nearby have not increased. Maria, call the local tax assessor's office to find out when the reassessment cycles are. And you can specifically name these neighborhoods. You give them the address and ask them like what's going on there. Sabrina, if I run a public property report on a home and there's an open lien, is that a red flag? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because you may not be able to close, depending on the lien, you may not be able to close on the property. So yeah, that's a red flag. MH Flower Power. Yes, that's me. In my groovy Flower Power shirt. Candy. Hi, Candy. Saw a video last week and the person said houses are so overvalued that houses could correct 50 to 80% of what we see now. What's your opinion? Love your shows. Thank you, Candy, for being here. I don't want to ask who you're watching because I know there's a lot out there. There's a lot of experts on this platform that are, scaring people into thinking that there's going to be a major crash, 50 to 80%. I I personally don't see that. I don't claim to be like an expert when it comes to analyzing the housing market and all that. Look, I'm analyzing, but from my perspective as a real estate agent and researching these topics and looking at the data. Like when I'm working with my clients, I'm watching and seeing everything, watching and seeing, you know what I mean? Watching everything that's going on. Like I watch the news, all of that. I mean, even though I'm not physically in these other markets, like say in Nevada, Las Vegas is definitely struggling right now. 50 to 80%. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know. Hey, Jivan, what's going on? It's sad that something catastrophic has to happen before home prices become realistic. I hope that doesn't happen. I really hope that doesn't happen. The Prophet's Mantle. That's a cool handle. I saw a house in Walden, New York in June, 24 hours after it came on the market. It had over 10 offers and still not sold, and we offered 10,000 over pricing. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. That is weird. They should have come back to you. Someday defect. How are you? Where have you been? That is a groovy blouse. Thank you. I had to pick up my phone and look. Yeah, Colorado market hit a wall. I'm seeing nothing move here in my area, and it's a sought after area. Thank you for sharing that. That's great. MK, good. Yes to your question. Sellers that bought during COVID are finding affordability a challenge, giving rising costs of living, insurances. We're starting to see people upside down in their loans. No. Oh my God, really? I don't like that. Oh my gosh. Roy, what's going on? Here in Arizona, there are plenty of folks who bought during COVID. Now they're trying to get their money back. Yep, exactly. Exactly. I know. LMB, Warren sees a future transition of less home ownership and more build to rent from Wall Street. That's what it is. Oh, stop this build to rent crap. No, we don't need that. We don't need that. Cackleberry Cottage, what's going on? I have relatives in Johnston, Pennsylvania. It's still very cheap back there, but of course, then you would be living in Johnston. YouTube didn't notify me you were on. Well, Cackleberry, you got to make sure those notifications are turned on. And if anybody else is watching for the first time right now, turn on your notifications so you don't miss me next week. Wouldn't some of the proceeds towards satisfying any lien of the property? You could, but you also don't know what they owe on their mortgage and if they've like taken, a couple of mortgages or home equity lines out on their home too. So it would satisfy it. I misspoke before, but you also don't know. I say red flag. It's like if there's a lien, are they not paying their mortgage? And if is it like refinanced several times, if they have a home equity line on it, those things need to get paid off first. The bank has to get paid off first. So, yeah. Sunny days, welcome. What are the best home programs for low income buyers? So Sunny, depending on where you live, you need to go online, you check your state, or you can even look at your local town or wherever you're looking to move to. You can search online for first time home buyer programs. Every state has one, and they offer some will give you money towards closing or towards your down payment. So check your state, go on your state website, or just like Google, first time home buyer programs in whatever, New Jersey or wherever you are. You should be able to find that. Jill, How dare you be late to the live? Just kidding. I'm glad you're here. So glad you're here. Can I ask a question? Why don't we build new cities? Why don't we? I don't know. I don't know. There was a lot of talk during the election last year. Both candidates were saying that they wanted to take over like federal land to build more housing, but then the argument was, it's in secluded areas and people need to work. How are they going to get to a job unless they're working remotely, all the things. So it's what somebody had said, well, let's start creating new cities, new towns in these plots of land, wherever, the federal land. I don't know. I don't know. It would make life easier. um Houses in my area have been wild. Recent price drops around 100K. Seen people ask for 725 and sell for 600 in Menifee, California. Wow. Interesting. Jill says we don't build new cities because the country's infrastructures can't handle the ones we have now. You're not wrong there. Jerry says, what is a 5-1 ARM? 5-1 ARM, great question. ARM means adjustable rate mortgage. So what it is, for the first 5 years of your loan, you're gonna be paying that interest rate. So whatever I shared with you in the beginning, whatever that 5-1 ARM was, whatever, 5.5%, 5.6%, that's gonna be your interest rate for the first 5 years. Then after that, that rate is going to adjust to whatever the current interest rate is at that time. And it will adjust every year after that. 5-1. Okay. Now, yeah, they're great, but you have to be careful because if the interest rates go up higher at the end of your 5 years, your mortgage rate's gonna skyrocket. So what people do is they'll refinance and change to a conventional loan so you have a fixed rate for the life of the loan. So if you're gonna do a 5-1, that's great, but just stay on top of that and see about refinancing. So after 5 years, I think refinancing would be safe. Like a 7-1 or a 10-1 ARM would be better because you'll have more equity in the home. It'll be easier for you to refinance to a conventional loan. So, but I would definitely talk to a mortgage lender to get more information about that. But that's what it is in a nutshell. Um, Bina, thank you for being here. Love your channel. Thank you. What advice would you give a Canadian thinking of buying a first rental property in US in today's market, preferably upstate New York? Um, if you're buying your first rental property, you're going to be you're going to be managing it from up there in Canada. What I would do, I'm speaking from personal experience from having a rental property in a different state. Make sure you have a good handyman in place, a electrician, plumber, because if something goes wrong, the tenant needs something repaired, that you have somebody at the ready. So if you're going to be working with a local agent there, they should be able to get you recommendations for those types of services. That is super important that you have that lined up and have that conversation with them, with a plumber, electrician, just to let them know what you're doing. You'd like to hire them for their services if need be, and, make sure that they'll be accessible because nothing is more stressful. What I have found being a long distance landlord is trying to get somebody to fix a problem. Um, the property we'd sold it a year ago, but we had it for a few years, and it was brand new house. I couldn't believe it. There was a problem with the heat. And it was dead of winter, and it was in Delaware. Now Delaware, it gets still as cold as it does up here in Jersey, and, I felt horrible. I'm freaking out. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's freezing at night. The heat's not working." And, but fortunately, my realtor down there got me connected with a great, plumber, so I was able to get that addressed, but you wanna be on top of that. You wanna keep the tenants You wanna keep them happy, especially if they're good tenants and they're paying the rent on time every month and they're taking care of the property. You gotta reciprocate. That's how I feel. If you're good to me, I'm gonna be good to you. You be good to me, and we're gonna have a great relationship. So, but that's the biggest thing I would be get that in place. Um, And then align yourself with a good real estate agent that's familiar with the rental market in upstate New York. MH, in other words, the bank wouldn't let it go if they owed more than they owed on loans and liens. I don't know, MH. I really don't know. Maybe. I can't say 100%. Travis says offered list price in Hudson, Wisconsin, and it was accepted. Inspections found sellers had made a claim on roof and did no repairs. Deck had some rotted boards too. This is why we do inspections. Thank you. Don't waive inspections. Travis got 35,000 off and a new roof. Good for you, Travis. That's why we do this. That's why we do the inspections. Don't waive them. Okay. I'm just going through. When looking at first-time homebuyer program, should I look at the rate or the APR, which is reported in average statistics? You want to look at the APR. Okay. So, before I get back to the other questions, you guys ready for this story? I couldn't wait to share this story with you. You're not going to believe this. Have you guys heard about this? All right. You ready? Talk about HOAs. Now, Miss H in the beginning brought up, there was talk about getting rid of HOAs, but let me share this story with you first. Did you guys hear about this? Florida mom, go away, you ad. Okay. Florida mom arrested after allegedly having brown grass and a dirty mailbox, violating HOA rules. I was treated like a criminal. Are you for real? Yes, this is true, you guys. Listen to this. A Florida woman is speaking out after she was arrested for allegedly violating the guidelines of her local homeowners association. Irina Green was jailed on May 23rd after the Trowbridge Company Incorporated alleged in a lawsuit that the homeowner had violated community appearance rules. The HOA management company based in Hillsborough County claimed that Green had browning grass on her lawn, a dirty mailbox, and a commercial van, among other minor violations, which said they ordered the women to correct. The grasses started turning brown, so then they started sending notes, and it went from the grass being brown to there's a dent in my garage. After the lawsuit was filed, Green said a judge gave her 30 days to tidy up her lawn and correct the violations, or she would be jailed. I sold my van to comply. My mailbox is clean to comply. I bought seeds and watered my grass to comply. Despite her attempts at resolving the issue, Green was later arrested after missing the next court date in August of 24. I was supposed to receive documentation. Nothing was sent to my home, and I reached out to the courthouse several times to try and find out my court date, she said. On May 23rd, while picking up her 15-year-old daughter from cheerleading practice, Green was pulled over and arrested. There was no bond, so I couldn't even go home to my family. I sat there for 7 days in the jailhouse like a criminal. According to jail records seen by People, Green faced 2 charges: contempt of court and failed to comply with the court's order to show cause. Green was released from jail after her family presented evidence that she had cleaned up her yard to a different judge than the one who signed the arrest warrant. It makes me feel horrible. I work hard to buy this home for me and my kids in a better neighborhood and environment, and to be taken to jail and to be treated like that for brown grass in my own home, that's horrible. It's disgusting. Are you kidding me? Why are these HOAs pulling this nonsense? You've got to be kidding me. So get this one. Okay, so going back to Miss H, I didn't forget about you. So now we have a guy in Florida. Florida lawmaker wants to abolish HOAs. Could the failed experiment really end? This was just from last week. Across the country, frustration with homeowner associations is bubbling over. In Florida, it's reaching a boiling point. Steep fees, strict rules, and heavy-handed enforcement have left many residents feeling trapped in neighborhoods they no longer control. So they talk about the story I just shared with you about Irina Green, how she was sent to jail because of her browning lawn. Shonya Cruz Muniz, who lives in the same neighborhood as Green, faced foreclosure after a lawsuit over the exterior color of her home. What? Stories like these have become symbols of what critics call HOA overreach, and now a South Florida lawmaker says it's time to end the system entirely. State Representative Juan Carlos Porras has proposed abolishing HOAs in Florida outright, calling them a failed experiment. If successful, his plan would fundamentally reshape daily life for nearly 9.5 million Floridians who currently live under HOA governance. So Florida became the land of HOAs. In 2024, more than 40% of listings came with an HOA fee, up over 39% from the year before, according to a recent report. And across the country, 374,000 community associations govern everything from suburban subdivisions to high-rise condos, a 3,600% jump from just 10,000 associations in 1970. Florida stands near top that list, second only to California in total HOAs, largely because of the boom of new construction in the state. New homes are far more likely than older properties to be built within HOA-governed communities, and in recent decades, developers have leaned heavily on the model. HOAs help them market neighborhoods as well-kept and amenity-rich, while also shifting the cost of services like landscaping and road maintenance away from the local governments. Because Florida has been one of the fastest growing states for new housing, the trend is only accelerated. In 2024 alone, Florida accounted for nearly 12% of all new construction permits nationwide, according to Realtor.com. And with those new subdivisions has come an ever-expanding network of associations. Today, the state is home to more than 50,000 HOAs. What? Oh my gosh. Listen, I hope something is done about this. I hope something is done about this. I really do, because this is ridiculous. Now, look, I understand. I always go back and I say I understand the purpose of the HOAs. I understand people want to live in these places because it's it's nice. It looks nice. They want everybody's property looking nice. I get all of that, but these board members, they're overreaching, foreclosing on homes, charging people exorbitant fines. I did a video about a couple weeks ago about how California and a bunch of other states have put laws into place to knock this crap off with these HOAs. It's getting ridiculous. I'm just looking at your comments. Let me see. One of the first, none of your business. Hey, how are you? One of the first questions people ask me when they come to my model, is there an HOA? Yeah, I get that all the time. All the time. It's ridiculous. All right, Julie, yeah, you can't blow off a court date. She didn't blow it off. She was never notified of the court date. I read that in the article. You can go back and look, rewatch us and read that. She wasn't even notified about the court date. That's how come she missed it. So, yeah. Maria says, I saw that story too. Outrageous bullies. I hope to get rid of HOAs, create laws restricting their powers and rules. I don't think, listen, Florida, I don't know if they're going to be able to ban all these HOAs, because here's the problem with that. Like they say, the reason why they create these HOAs is also to alleviate the cost on the government, right? So meaning on the local governments, right? As far as road maintenance, garbage pickup, all of that stuff. So what's going to happen? Property taxes will probably rise, right? Because now they're going to have to hire more people to go in and maintain, all these roads in these communities. So if they have that many communities, 50,000 HOAs, good Lord. But if they have that many communities with these homes in the HOAs, I think what they'll do is they'll probably put more restrictions on the HOAs of what they're allowed to do. I'd love to see them get rid of it, but that's going to be one big cluster, because now the towns have to step up, the cities have to step up, and they have to now take over, taking over maintaining those roads and infrastructure and all that stuff. So Um, Candy says, I worked for a company, remain nameless. Florida was one of the states I helped. People begging me to help them get HOAs off their backs. Some in tears, horror stories. HOAs got to go. It's really bad. Candy, I agree with you. I own a property now that had 2 properties that were part of HOAs, and I don't not I didn't at the time, I was like, it's not that bad. I got these amenities." And I will say the property I have right now, that HOA, knock on wood, hasn't been that bad. Really, I really haven't had any issues with them at all. Um, but I would tell you, if I'm gonna buy another house, nope, nope, not doing it. Retirement home, I'm not dealing with that nonsense. No way. Um, let's see. As for the Florida proposal to abolish HOAs, is targeted at single family home neighborhoods, not townhouses, condos, townhouses, because of shared roofs being a prime reason. Yep. Yeah, well, that's what I was just saying. That's why. So they're building all these homes, and one of the reasons why they put HOAs was to take the burden off the local governments for maintaining those roads. So yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, she was jailed for missing a court date, as the article said. Now, look, give her benefit of the doubt. She was never notified of the court date. She had no idea she had to appear, or she didn't know when to appear. So that's what it says in the article. Um, Hello, my friend. For always, forever, for life. I know you just realized you. I'm glad you're here. Lisa says to get rid of HOA, property taxes will explode. You're right. That burden's gonna fall back on the local governments, and now so. Well, think about it. Let's hope that whatever you're paying in HOA fees, now it's gonna transfer over to your taxes, right? You're paying it anyway. So say if you're paying, if they could keep it where your taxes rise only like by the amount of what you're paying your HOA fees, what's the difference? So, um, yeah. All right. Um, John L, we have another win. Let's share it. No inventory in northern New Jersey. Search for 7 years. Bought old home, demolished, rebuilt on existing foundation. Expected to move in 1.5 months. John, amazing. Congratulations. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. That's awesome. James says, so letting off the town do the work when the HOA residents are also paying the HOA, double dipping, in my opinion. Yeah. Yep. You're not wrong there. After all the nightmares I've heard about special assessment, I will never consider an HOA. I know. Well, so that's big down in Florida, those special assessments. Hold on one second. Need my water. Okay. Jill says, I have an agent telling me I don't need an appraisal, that she can price my home to sell with the same information they use. I feel like I need an appraisal. What should I do? All advice is appreciated. So, Jill, they're not wrong. And this is what I do, what all real estate agents do. We basically go through, we look at the last 3 to 6 months of comparable homes to your home, of what's sold. Okay. This is what that's the appraiser model too. They go back 3 to 6 months. Now, where the appraiser is a little bit different is they actually measure the property. They measure the rooms, they measure the house, they go into detail. But, you know, real estate agents, if you have an agent that knows your market, that have seen those other homes that have sold, like we know, like did this house have a pool? This one had an updated kitchen, and say yours doesn't. We were able to compare that. We're able to say, okay, so this house sold for X amount of dollars. It had an updated kitchen, it had a pool. Yours does not. So your home would probably be X amount percentage lower than this home, right? The one that's updated and has a pool. So it's up to you. What if you want to spend the money? Appraisals aren't cheap. They're about $700, sometimes more. You can do that if you choose to. I know people that have done that. They go in to get their house appraised because they want to know. And if that's that important to you, you can do that. But we've pretty much follow the same things, the same model what an appraiser does, except they literally measure rooms, the size of the bedrooms, and then when they do this, and I think they have like a database of homes that have sold, what gives it gives more detailed if if the home, if like say these other homes were appraised. I believe there's a database, not 100%, but that's what they go and refer to when they're doing their comps. But like when I go to meet an appraiser for my buyers, like I'll go meet the appraiser. I'll actually pull my own comps, especially if the appraiser is not from the area. Had that happen, and I'll pull like comps, for like say like within within the same town. We'll try to find comps. If not, I'll go. We can go like a certain radius outside the town, and I'll present that to the appraiser. And 9 times out of 10, they'll say, "Yeah, these are the same ones I saw too." So it's up to you. She's probably just the realtor's probably just helping you save money because appraisals are expensive. Eric says sold a home in Florida without HOA and bought a new townhome with an HOA. They take care of the outside of the roof and all the insurance costs. So look, let's go back on HOAs. Again, they have a purpose. All right. And if you're gonna buy a home in an HOA, make sure they're solid financially, right? You're not gonna be hit with assessments. You're gonna look at the pour through the financials, and if you're working with a real estate attorney, they're gonna be pouring through the financials too of that HOA to make sure they're on the up and up. So do your homework, as I always say. Oh, Makito, hi, big fan. Could you give a brief explanation about how HOAs became so powerful? Thanks so much. You know, I would love to know how they became so powerful, but as that article states, in Florida, they were just booming because of all the new communities that were built. It was HOAs were used as like it's like to entice buyers to say, "Hey, we have an HOA. We have all these amenities. You got everyone's yard looks just so, the outside of the house looks so because you have to follow the HOA rules." But how did it become so powerful? I guess it's the people that come on the boards. And they just I don't know. I don't know. They like, they like I don't know, they like being a pain in the butt. Like I dealt with an HOA Karen at my rental property. Oh my gosh. Drove me up a wall. I got emails over my garbage cans not being put away quick enough after garbage pickup. And they were gonna fine me like $200. It was so stupid. Anyway, what do you got for me, Roy? My HOA does 2 things: maintain the roads and run an architectural committee that approves exterior colors so my neighbor can't paint his house purple. I'm happy to pay $35 a month. $35. Okay. That's okay. Some of these HOAs, especially the ones in Florida, they're so much money. Like we're talking hundreds to over $1,000 a month. Now, those communities obviously have tons of amenities, which you know, they have tons of amenities and they have all these wonderful things that they offer. They have like, activity directors and things like that. They have like the villages, right? So you're going to be paying a lot for that. 35 a month to maintain your roads. Okay, that's okay. So, um yeah, MH, I'm not drinking. I'm drinking my water. Stop drinking on the job. You think you're a wise guy. Um, all right, let's see. All right, what else we got? Must agents what are you saying, Charlton? Hold on, sorry. Must agents disclose HOA at closing? It should be disclosed at the beginning. It should be on the listing. Yeah. I like this one. How about if you live in an HOA community, you get a big discount? on your property taxes. There's an idea. That'll never happen. Oh, Lisa, your mom's in Middletown, Delaware, has condo fees and an HOA. So do I. My property is near Bethany Beach, Delaware. I have the same thing. I have a condo fee that I pay quarterly, and what I get with that is they pay for my internet, which is crappy, which, but that's Delaware. Delaware doesn't have like the best as internet service. I don't get it. They have Mediacom, the company down there. Not so good. And then I have for my section of the community, I pay my HOA dues every month. It's great. It's great. It's great. Okay. Let's see. Another reason it's a no for me, HOA, is the fact that someone can tell me what I can and cannot do in a house that I bought. No thanks. I agree. Yep, I agree with you. Oh, I agree with you. I love when they tell you to mow your lawn, etc. Why don't they have someone do it themselves? Some places do. Some communities will have landscapers. I know there's some communities, especially down in Delaware, near where we are. They mow the lawns. The community does it. You pay for that in your HOA fees. Oh, Arnold, we have another win. I'm going to show the win. What's the win? My offer got accepted 75 under list, 20,000 in closing costs, 5K in repair credit. The house appraised for 50,000 over. That's a win, Arnold. Congratulations. That's amazing. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. We have here, you guys are just loving the chat tonight. Lively conversation. In Virginia, there's the Virginia's Property Owners Association Act and the Resale Disclosure Act, which mandates that buyers are provided with a notice of HOA documents and financial info. Yeah, we have the same thing up here in Jersey. We have to provide, the everything, all of all the disclosures, the bylaws, the financials, all of that stuff. Zahia, I hope I'm saying her name right. Please forgive me. Sale pending new construction, seller builder, keep extending closing and not finishing the punch list, and his 2 other homes in SA. Well, listen, do not close until that punch list is done, until everything has been addressed. I'm telling you, trust me on that one. Just listen, I know it's frustrating. You don't want to wait, but you got to wait. You got to wait it out to let them fix that. Lisa says HOAs can tell you what to do with the inside of your house too. Yes, some of them do. Some of them do. It's not fun. Not fun. Oh, None Your Business says I upload the covenant declarations directly to my MLS listings. Ted says looking for a house in northern Delaware. The fact that I have to forego inspections to stay competitive in my bids is so frustrating. Try to just limit them. I hate hearing you guys have to like waive inspections. I don't talk about limiting them. Here's another suggestion, Ted. I don't know how the process is. I forget when I bought my properties, how quick we had to do a home inspection. Limit the home inspection to structure, environmental, mechanical, and see if you can like get the inspection done like the next day, like the day after the offer is accepted, like get it done right away. So if there's any issues, you're not wasting the seller's time. You're not wasting your time. If anything major comes up, you can walk away and the seller can move on to the next buyer. This is what I've been doing lately too. The last 3 deals that I did, and even the one that we didn't have a bidding war. We went it, but this is my client, my move up buyer client. We scheduled inspections immediately during the attorney review process here in New Jersey. Those of you watching it from New Jersey, we have a 3-day attorney review period. When the offer gets accepted, there are 3 days. The attorneys get the contracts. They go back and forth about the contracts, make their um, addendums to it, or they call it the rider. They make a rider, and any other like changes that they want to make to the contract is done in that 3-day period. Once we're done with the attorney review, typically the home inspection is done. What I have been doing is I have been saying, because we were competing against other offers, that we get the home inspection done during attorney review. That's also showing the seller you have skin in the game. My clients are willing to spend whatever the $500-$600 on the home inspection, even before they get under contract, right? They want to get the inspection done. They want to make sure everything's on the up and up. And if they something comes up and both parties don't agree to it, there's an issue, they can walk away and the seller can move on to the next buyer. We're not wasting the seller's time. My buyer's not wasting their time, but it is a risk for my buyer because they're laying out about $600 on the inspection. But if you can like somehow put that in the contract, like to do it immediately, that might help. But please don't waive it, whatever you do. Hi, Jules King. Thank you. Love your channel. You saved us from making a lot of pricey choices. Thank you for keeping everyone informed. It is my absolute pleasure. Thank you for saying that. I'm so glad you find this helpful. You have no idea. It means the world. Grim BK, how much do you know about oil tank removals in New Jersey? Contractor told me that the previous owner was supposed to leave the front of the house clean, but instead they destroyed the front curb. What do I know about oil tank removals? Well, you want to know like how much they are? I guess it depends. All the tank removals that I have done, the cost average about, between $2,000 and $3,000 for the removal. And then what happens is the town has to come out and they do, actually, no, I'm sorry. Hold up. The environmental company that removes the tank does a soil test. They send that out to be tested to make sure the soil is not contaminated. That is then sent to the town and then it's actually sent to the state to get to the state DEP to get the clean bill of health, get the certification back saying that this is deemed safe, there's no contamination, and then that is then filed with the town. The town does also, most towns, I believe I know up here in the towns, surrounding towns where I live, they do come do their own inspection as well to close out the permit for the tank removal. That's the process. But contractor told me that the previous owner was supposed to leave the front of the house clean. So I guess there was a removal and they damaged the curb. I'm assuming, I think that's what you're telling me. So yeah, I don't know. I'd imagine that the town had to come out and review that. They had to come out and inspect that removal in order to close the permit out. Lived in Delaware for 3 years. It was nice, but nothing to do except work, eat, and shop. I ran back to New York, but if you are retiring, it's a pretty good place to live. Yeah, it is. It's one of the places we're considering, actually. Not now. Okay. Now I'm supposed to get concrete work done as part of my 203K, possibly. I mean, that's unfortunate. I don't know who let that go. I don't know how the town approved that, but that's unfortunate. Hello, Elena. Is it okay to buy new construction or to be built? It's whatever you desire, you have to, you want to buy like a new construction in the community, or you're looking to buy like a piece of land and then have a builder build it. Either way, just check the quality of work, check the reviews of those builders and, make sure they do a good job and they follow up and finish off the punch list before you close on the house and make sure you get a warranty on the house too. Most new builders will do 10-year warranties on the exterior of the home. The first year, everything is covered under the first year warranty. So inside the home, like if anything goes wrong, they have to come back and fix it. But that's within the first year. Mrs. H, thank you. I've never been a fan of HOA. Wait and see now about getting rid of them. A lot of happy people also. We'll see. We will see what happens. Another question, Rockmaker. Could you please explain how earnest works? I had an agent tell me if I withdrew from the contract, regardless of what the inspection revealed, I would lose the earnest money. Doesn't sound right. I don't know where you are, Rockmaker, but it depends on your state. Um, Here where I am in Jersey, if you go into an inspection and there's issues, here's the thing. If there's issues that are found and the seller offers a credit or to repair it, it's going to make it challenging to walk away from it. Okay? If you come to an impasse over, the cost of it, how much credit they're going to give you, or if they're not going to repair it according to how you want it repaired, then you can walk away, and typically you get your deposit back. At least that's how it is here in Jersey. Again, I don't know where you are, so you might want to check with the rules there. Um, but yeah, I mean, Jersey is a very buyer friendly state. It really is. Favors the buyers a lot. So I've seen it time and time again where deposits are given back. Why? Because a lot of times the sellers don't want to go to court, they don't want to spend the money on an attorney to go sue somebody for a few $1,000s. So that's that's the truth. Um, BBB, is Bergen County still hot? Yep. Depends on the town though. Some towns are slowing down a little bit. And what I'm seeing is I think the homes are slightly overpriced. That's why I'm still seeing some homes sitting on the market, but it's still hot. It is. Builders, other homes still on the market with price drop. Do we request a price adjust after paying initial deposit? No, I think you got to negotiate all that up front with a builder as far as the price. Um, all right. I'm just going through all your comments. This is great. Sabrina, Northern New Jersey first time buyer. How are property taxes determined on a home? It's determined on the assessed value. So it's not, I don't know how to explain it. The assessed value is lower than the actual purchase price. And there's a formula that each town follows to come up with that assessed value. So if you're concerned that, hey, I'm paying $500,000 for this house and now I'm going to pay property taxes for $500,000, that's not the case. The assessed value is typically lower. It's typically lower by, say, about $100 to $200,000 less than what you paid for. But that's based on a formula, and I don't know the formula offhand. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, this is a great question, Elena. Do I need a real estate agent to buy new construction? I highly recommend you get a real estate agent, and I highly recommend you get a good home inspector to check that home for each phase of the build. Even if you're working with one of these big builders like Lennar, DR Horton, any of those, I would still get your own independent inspection. Do not rely on the what do you call it? The manager, whatever, the project manager who comes and checks they check the house, they check the framing, the drywall, they come in and check everything. No, get an inspector. Spend the money, get an inspector. If you haven't seen the video I did several months back, Elaine, I'm not sure if you're new here. I did a video, I think it was back in March or early April. Never buy a home from these builders. The stories that I share in that video, it's frightening. Frightening what some of these people have gone through with these big builders. So anyway, you guys, okay. I just can't stop talking tonight. Okay, so let's take a look at the poll, shall we? So what are the results of the poll? We had 374 votes. Thank you so much, all of you, for chiming in. With homes now sitting on the market longer and more listings seeing price cuts, what's your move? 18% of you said I'd jump in and buy now. 36% of you said I'd wait for steeper price drop. 46%, the highest percent, said I'm still watching the market. Well, there you have it. And I think a lot of you buyers are going to be watching the market for a lot longer. We're going to see how this all plays out. So, will more than half of the markets here in this country shift over to becoming a buyer's market? I don't know. We might be seeing that. So, just to remind you all, if you need a real estate agent in your market, I have a free service. There's a little below in that description box. Please click that and fill out the forms, and I will get back to you with an agent in your market. If you are thinking of selling or buying here in Northern New Jersey, you'd like to work with myself and my team, there's another link down there. Click that, and I will set up a Zoom consultation with you. The last two clients that I just recently got under contract, they found me. They came through me to the channel, and they're phenomenal people. And I'm so excited I was able to help them secure their homes, and they're going to be closing in the next couple of weeks. So if you need help, I'm happy to help you. Anyway, you all, thank you so much for being here, coming, watching. There's 400 of you on here tonight on Labor Day, on a holiday. I so appreciate you all. Have a wonderful week. See you all next Monday. Have a good one.